Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of your favorite morning Buffalo Bills slash NFL show on the internet, the Don Mafia Report. The Buffalo Bills just completed their first test of the preseason. And specifically, I feel like all of us were looking more so focused on the new rookie class and some of the new free agents that were added onto our roster. And I got to tell you what, like any preseason game, like any training camp practice, there are winners and losers. And I got to tell you, I think that there were a couple of more losers than winners, but of course that is to be expected because it is preseason. And I can tell you that an interview from Joey Bosa at the end of the game really was eye-opening, although that it should have been eye-opening from the very beginning. I feel like we should take a listen to that just so we can start this show off appropriately and curb expectations, because I do like letting people know this is the preseason. If, for example, that Joe Brady, Bobby Babich, Sean McDermott were to go in to any of these games with the theory or the game plan of unloading our entire playbook on an all but meaningless game, I'd probably be pretty upset about it. However, we did hear from Joey Bosa after the game by itself. I'm going to go ahead and pull this up and let's take a listen. Let's take a listen to exactly what he had to say. As you're coming in, guys, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up sign, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you haven't already as well, just do me a favor and roll call in the chat. Where are you tuning in from? I'm always curious to see how far Bills Mafia truly extends. I did understand that I'm not going to play this video. However, we can end up reading exactly what he had to say. Joey Bosa ultimately ended up meeting with the media at the conclusion of the game, and he said, you know what? It was very basic install. They were just trying to get me going. And I really think that that should ease some of the anxiety around Bills fans if you were looking for something more exciting to take away from this Buffalo Bills and New York Giants game. Guys, again, I want to reiterate to everybody, this is the preseason. You should be very pissed off at the Buffalo Bills coaching staff if they even showed 50% of their overall playbook. But I think that might be something you guys could be excited about. Guys, as you're coming in, again, hit that thumbs up sign. It's the easiest way to show love on the channel today. And roll call in the chat. Where is everybody tuning in from this morning? Do not be shy. I am talking to the lurkers as well. All of you lurkers, let me know where you're tuning in from. Let's talk a little football. Come on, Dan, you're late. I'm here, man. I'm here. Have no fear. Baltimore is in the building. Amy, what is going on? How are you doing? Broken Arrow, Oklahoma in the house. Brian Dean, man, what's going on? Good morning, Dan. Born in Saratoga, living in Granville, New York right now. Man, it is insane how far Bills Mafia extends. Surprise, Arizona is in the building. Columbia, Missouri, go Bills. Quiff sucks. The Queefs suck. Look at that, man. Holy hell. 50% with an exclamation point. Yes, indeed. If we were to even implement 50% of what our playbook truly will look like in the regular season, we should all be very upset. Thankfully, I do not believe Buffalo did that against the New York Giants. Pritchard, Alabama is in the building. Thumbs up, INT. Big Daddy D, Hamlin, New York is in the building. The Toilet, Penfield, New York. Go Bills from Iran. What's going on, man? Hope all is well. Lackawanna, New York. 302 in the building. What is up, Mafia? Galway, Ireland. What is going on? Hey, listen, that right now is probably the most interesting place so far in the chat. But guys, listen, we had a football game that we had to discuss yesterday. And I feel like you can get storylines out of each and every single performance. Again, I'm not so much concerned that the Buffalo Bills lost 34-25 against the New York Giants. Again, I can tell you this, that this is the preseason. Vast majority of the snap share was given to players that more than likely are not going to make this roster. That doesn't mean that I would have liked our depth on the second string portion of the roster to stand out. However, I still think that we can start to get some narratives from players that we not only drafted, but we also ended up bringing in via free agency. So let's take a look at some of the box score stats to begin. And then afterwards, we are going to take a look at some of the PFF scores. And you'll notice some very shocking standouts from the beginning. So starting off, we lost 34-24. And let's start off with the quarterback side of things. I think that this is certainly a good storyline, especially since there is a quarterback competition between Mitchell Trubisky and Michael White at this point. So Mitch Trubisky went 9 for 13, 138 yards, and 1 touchdown. And look, I got to give Mitchy Biscuits some credit because he is doing whatever he can to tell the Buffalo Bills, look, I understand that my cap hit is somewhat significant, but at the end of the day, I'm still that dude. I could still step in and win the Buffalo Bills a couple of games. I have the starting experience. And I think this play specifically was the most impressive. First off, Abdul Carter was running all over the Buffalo Bills offensive line. That is a storyline I think that we need to discuss. Again, it is the preseason. But this play right here is telling us one thing and one thing only, that Mitch Trubisky is really trying to solidify himself as QB2. He handled pressure pretty solidly. He rolled right. We did see Abdul Carter win on the inside from Deion Dawkins on that specific play, but I thought that Mitch Trubisky ultimately ended up doing pretty good. I have no complaints from here. Followed by Mike White, went 8 for 13, 112 yards and 2 touchdowns. Again, he was going up against lesser competition from the Giants' third stringers as well. Had 2 touchdowns. I think that's going to again be another quarterback competition that we are seeing for the rest of the preseason. Who wins? I suppose that's still left to be determined. I think both of them did some really good things. I think both of them did some bad things. But again, as long as we are all on the same page, that if Josh Allen ever goes down, we are screwed either way, whether or not it's Mitchell Trubisky, whether or not that it's Mike White. So we can knock on wood there. How about Ty Johnson, huh? How about Ty Johnson, ladies and gentlemen? 3 carries, 26 yards, and a whopping 8.7 yards per carry. While he had limited exposure out there, he's continuously proving to each and every single one of us that he is the best third down back in the NFL. I love this Ty Johnson guy. I really, really do. Frank Gore Jr., 5 for 21, 4.2 yards per carry. Ray Davis, 4 carries for 7 yards. Man, I got to tell you what about Ray Davis. I was a little disappointed. In Ray Davis because what has been the narrative all offseason, and again, this is not James Cook propaganda, so give me a break, okay? This is not James Cook propaganda that I'm trying to put out on the internet, but one of the biggest things that we would hear is, hey, Dan, it doesn't matter if James Cook sits out and we don't have James Cook. Ray Davis could very easily take over. I got to tell you, man, he did not live up to expectations. He did not make the most out of the limited snaps that he had. Out of the 4 carries, only 7 yards, 1.8 yards per carry. Now, of course, depending on who you ask, he's still a very good zone running back. I feel like he'd be okay. Several people that I have talked to think that it had a bit to do with communication with the offensive line. One thing I like to point out is while you always hear about a quarterback and a wide receiver doing whatever they can to establish chemistry, the exact same thing has to be done with a running back and an offensive line. Establishing chemistry with those 2 position groups is also something that is commonly overlooked. But I'd probably put Ray Davis as a performance that was a bit, I'd say, underwhelming. Like, shout out to my boy for kicking that extra point, though. That right there, load up the damn resume. He is the emergency kicker for this team going into the 2025 NFL season. That much I can tell you. We have Real Bill P has come in. Dan, Ray said that he had shoe problems. They kept having him put on kicking shoes with a bunch of exclamation points. It's funny you say that because I have no idea what was going on with the Buffalo Bills field the other day, because one play specifically was when Ray Davis was still able to make something out of nothing where he slipped well behind the line of scrimmage. but still was able to gain about 2 to 3 yards. It wasn't only him either. Him and a couple of Giants players were slipping and sliding. You would have thought that so you would have thought that this game was being played in the middle of November and in the middle of December, right? That's how slippery those conditions were. So by saying that he had some sort of a shoe problem, that certainly makes a little bit of sense. Ty Johnson looked great. Those stiff arms were absolutely fire. He hands down stood out amongst all of the Buffalo Bills running backs. That's something I really enjoyed to see. And then how about Terrell Shavers, folks? Terrell Shavers, 2 receptions for 70 yards. I'll tell you what, it's really hard for me not to find a place for Terrell Shavers on this team right now, folks. He's been performing very well in training camp. He had a great game. I'm not going to lie to you. He had a solid game against the New York Giants. Here's specifically one of the plays in which that he ran, look, basically in triple coverage at the end. Like once he was targeted, he comes down with the football, has some great hands right then and there. So we can check out the route here. Where's our boy? Look at that, dude. Look at that from Shavers, man. He's doing whatever he possibly can to make this roster. What can he do on special teams? And it's funny that you say that. And look, it's a solid route. Folks, it is a solid route. Look at this. Chops him up. So much separation. Guys, look, it's hard for me not to find a place for him on this team. It really is. One thing that was interesting to me was that when Sean McDermott was asked after the game and he was asked about, hey, what did you think about Terrell Shavers? Like, does he really have a good shot at making this squad? And he said what we have said on this channel almost ad nauseum. He needs to up his special teams contribution. Because like it or not, like we have a couple of players on this roster that are all but solidified to be a wide receiver for this team. 5 names. You have Khalil Shakir, you have Keon Coleman, you have Elijah Moore, you have Joshua Palmer, and then I know that there are some rumors going around the rumor mill right now where we're saying, oh, Dan, what about Curtis Samuel? We have to get rid of Curtis Samuel. Like it or not, folks, I don't think that there's a strong possibility whatsoever that we are going to walk away from Samuel. And it doesn't particularly have anything to do with his talent, because I can agree with you here. Like, we can all be on the exact same page about Curtis Samuel, that he has largely been a disappointment since we signed him to that 3-year contract. And I know that we're starting to hear from people saying, oh my God, we could add an extra $7.5 million over to this cap. Sure, it sounds good, right? Maybe if I was the GM, or maybe if one of you watching was the GM, then perhaps we would pull the trigger on this, and then we would bring in Shavers, and then we ultimately would end up bringing in Laviska Shenault for the kick return position, which I'm going to get to here shortly. But the dead cap that Curtis Samuel would put onto this team would be less than ideal. It's basically like pulling out a credit card, right? And like taking a massive swipe and then worrying about paying it back later from a financial standpoint. And remember, when it comes in to Brandon Beane's behavior, he hates dead cap more than anything. So the fact of the matter is, since Stephon Diggs weaseled his way out and we had to take such a significant dead cap hit on our books from it, I think Brandon Beane has a bit right here of PTSD. So say, for example, that we were to go on ahead and get rid of him, we would have 1.75 this year and then 3.4 this year for 2026 dead cap. So I can go ahead and show you my screen for each and every single one of you to take a look at. So I think it's pretty clear. It's pretty clear that Curtis Samuel, barring some crazy injury where we can walk out with an injury settlement on the young man, he's got a spot. So who is that 6th spot? Maybe it's Terrell Shavers. I don't know. But all I can tell you is that he has been doing quite a bit right in that department. by itself. Availability is the trump card. Need healthy wide receiver to group. I totally agree with you. Hot take, Cook leaves. Frank Gore Jr. should be our third string running back. He looked pretty good. He looked pretty solid last year in the preseason and the game on Saturday. He had 5 runs, 21 yards, averaging 4.2. Not bad at all. So what I would like to see from Frank Gore Jr. is actually reps against like ones or twos, because so the common thing with Frank Gore is that we have only really ever seen him when he's going up against like the bottom of the barrel of each and every single roster during the preseason. I still don't think that James Cook is leaving. I do think it was an encouraging sign that he was out there fully suited up, that he was running all the 11 on 11s. But I don't know. And so I think Frank Gore Jr. again is going to be a practice squad guy. That's not a bad thing. Hopefully that's where we're standing at right now, but something to look at, man. Shout out everybody. Garth has come in with all the people out on the defensive line with suspensions. I'd rather keep that extra person on the D than in the wide receiver room. Touche, my guy. Touche. So right over there, man, we had receiving, we had Shavers, we had Frank Gore Jr. with 5 receptions, 50 yards, attempting to make a name for himself out there. We cannot be upset. And let's get into defense, right? Because we need to talk about players that stood out. So what I have in front of me are the PFF grades from the start of the game. And funny enough, who is on top of this list, folks, in overall defensive grade? Just so happens to be our boy Deon Walker. All right. Defensive tackle from the University of Kentucky. When you look at the guy, he is a massive young man. Many of us look at his size profile and think that, hey, you know what? He's a Daquan Jones, second in the depth chart type of guy. He's that big body you want next to a true pass rushing defensive tackle. But he went out there and he said, no. You wait a minute. I have some pass rushing chops myself. And I got to tell you, I am still sitting here patiently waiting for the All-22 to release. Hopefully, Kevin and I will be able to break it down on the afternoon stream. But when I tell you that Deon Walker really had a damn day, in fact, he was by and large the best defensive player out on the field with his overall snaps, 15 of them right out on the field. And look, let's give love where love is deserved, because you have Deon Walker here. And one of my favorite plays from a man right over here. Continuously being that big body you need. Look at this. Look at my guy right here. With the inside move, bats the football down from Jackson Dart. And you lock in right here, and you have a 92.8 overall defensive score from PFF. Some solid stuff, man. That's some encouraging things. For those of us that had a lot of high hopes on Deon Walker, especially from being a 4th-round pick, and many of us were really, married to the point that he had a back injury in college last year. So now we're super optimistic that he could be a quality rotational piece. It's good. Maybe I haven't bought in completely from Deon Walker, because post-draft, you guys heard me say that I think that he needs a bit more development before he can take an impact. He's largely going to be a healthy scratch. I haven't completely shifted my opinion, but I can tell you that his performance last week certainly helped me feel a bit more encouraged. Perhaps he indeed can be a guy that can go out there and make a year 1 impact from a rotational defensive tackle, rotating with Daquan Jones. That was ideal. Saw TJ Sanders. I thought that he also had some quality reps. One specifically, that Jackson Dart touchdown pass right during the 2nd round. Sanders was literally milliseconds from sending this guy into another universe. Quality rep. He beat his man, was in Jackson Dart's face. Dart, I feel like we just need to give him credit, because he stayed as cool as a cucumber and was able to still complete that touchdown pass. But Sanders had some pass rushing chops as well with a 78.3. I am excited to see what he does for the rest of the preseason, but it's not like any of us are really surprised, of course, that he is likely going to make this squad. Now, I hate saying this, and because I know that a lot of you are going to turn on me with this take. A lot of you are going to turn on me with this take, but I got to tell you who was really bad. Who was really, really bad during this game. Chat, guess who I'm going to say was really bad during this game? Somebody who did not live up to expectations. Somebody who is even behind schedule, is further behind schedule than I thought once we ended up drafting this young man. Somebody just try and guess who I think this player is. Somebody just guess as I talk to a couple of people. Walker blocks the damn sun. I mean, he's got the size, man. I was kind of surprised. I didn't really hear anyone talk about Deion Walker. I think we should cut Daquan Jones and give him a chance. With the Daquan Jones, wasn't really good last season. I wouldn't go that far because he is healthy, and Walker is still a rookie. So I'm not going to hop on the bandwagon just yet based off of one preseason game that we could walk away from Daquan Jones. We're going to have to see a lot more from that. It's Landon Jackson. It's Landon Jackson, ladies and gentlemen. Landon Jackson. Folks, I hate to be this guy, and this is going to be a take I think that's probably going to upset some of you, but and it's not my final conclusion, but I have a pit feeling in my stomach as we speak right now that Landon Jackson's ceiling is AJ Epinesa. His ceiling. That's not his floor. That is his ceiling. I hate to say it. Many people were talking about that penalty that he drew that negated the interception that Jordan Hancock would have had. But when I tell you that he did not record a single statistic against a third string offensive line, the third string of the worst offensive line in all of football, I think we should be a bit concerned. I also think that we should be a bit concerned that throughout the entirety of training camp, we did not see Landon Jackson's name once in any headline suggesting that he played well in any one of these camps. But I'm about to show you the clip that really got me. That really ended up getting me because I didn't even notice this while I was watching the game. But once it was pointed out, and this is against a third string, by the way, Marcus Embo. Watch this. And so I really wish I could slow this down. Here's our boy. Here's our boy. Here's our boy. Oh, boom. See that again? Let me pause it. Watch him. Watch him. Boom. Yep. I'm sure a lot of us could say, Dan, this was clear that the field conditions were not ideal. And that the field conditions were not ideal. We saw Ray Davis slip all over the place. We saw some Giants players slip all over the place. But like once you account for basically being a ghost in training camp, right? And then this being a rep, plus the offsides penalty, boom. It shouldn't come to a surprise to anybody either, folks, because we've said this before. He's a solid run defender. He is. Very solid run defender. And I think people ended up hopping on the bandwagon, whether or not that maybe it had to do with his combine performance. I'm not particularly sure why people thought that he was going to be an absolutely incredible pass rusher. Say that he ever is, it's not going to be this year. He still has so much in his pass rushing repertoire that needs to be developed. It's kind of hard for me to see him be really a significant impact player on this team going into 2025. So Landon Jackson for me probably had to be one of my biggest disappointments so a loser, if you will. I really hope I'm wrong. But where it stands right now, I think his ceiling is AJ Epinesa. And that's not even his floor. Okay, I get that he was playing bad, but he's a rookie. Y'all being too harsh. But I mean, I don't think that we are. And so I don't think that we are being too harsh right now. We need this defensive line to take a significant step in the right direction. And we need as much help as we possibly can. So it's just a bit discouraging, especially when you end up looking at how all of the other rookies performed. Like you have Deion Walker, who is an absolute stud for game one, who's also been in the headlines at training camp, which is encouraging. You had TJ Sanders. He's been in the headlines in training camp. He had a really good game. Jordan Hancock, who was our 5th rounder, he would have gotten an interception if it was not for the Landon Jackson's offsides call rate that came in. It's strong, like sounded pretty solid too, like a decent coverage grade. So right now we're looking at all of our players that we drafted on the defensive side of the football. All of them have been making noise with the exception of Landon Jackson. So I'm not particularly sure that we are overreacting yet, but I mean, let's see. We have Josh Allen MVP. How could we need James Cook, our only good weapon, when we can start Ray Davis 4 runs for 7? My mouse pad is very sensitive, folks, and serious apologies right there. Let me go ahead and get back in. Let me hop back in real fast so we can have that conversation. All right. We have United 6 YouTube. We need a Super Bowl, and it starts with the defense. To be honest, the offensive putting up 30-plus points per game. It's time for structure on defense, rookie or vet. Depth is very important. And one thing I think that we can walk away from and be super optimistic about is the performances so far from the rookie class. Like we saw flashes from every single one of them with so the exception of Landon Jackson, and same thing with Maxwell Harrison, obviously, since he is sitting out on the sideline. So that is that. And so I agree we expect players like him to come out and stomp on third string offensive lines for sure, right? Say that Landon Jackson was not able to put up a single statistic against the starting offensive line for the New York Giants. I get it. But these guys are more than likely going to be working construction like next year, right? Like that offensive lineman that literally embarrassed him on screen earlier, he's not going to be in the NFL. He's not going to be in the NFL, man. He's probably going to be playing in the XFL next year. Like we need some version of wins, and that's how it goes. Geez, Dan forgot to pay his cable bill. No. My mouse is just way too sensitive. Yo, what's up, Dan Hornhunter? Hope all is well. Larry Ogunjobi was suspect also. Indeed. He was indeed. Hey, Dan, and did you watch the Dolphins preseason against Chicago? The 4th and 15 blitz had me rolling. It's the Miami Dolphins. We are good. I don't give a rat's ass about the preseason. Man, tell you what, man. I like that. Like, that's definitely a way to look at things, right? But what was the biggest issue for the Buffalo Bills last year? Hands down, the biggest issue for the Buffalo Bills last year was depth. A significant drop-off from our starters. So this year for me, I'd probably say that preseason is a bit more important. Not about final scores. I could give a shit. And so about final score of a preseason game. But what matters to me is I want to see what our depth players look like, and I want them to win against lesser competition. So if I think that Landon Jackson needs to go out there and dominate a bunch of third string, several of which were 6th, 7th round players, maybe even undrafted players. Yeah. And you're damn right. I expect that. So it's early. It's early. So hopefully we'll be able to turn it all around. And it's not something I'm going to ultimately end up just getting nervous about, if you will. Folks, I think it's time for me to open up the Garage Beer Hotline. Say, for example, you are unfamiliar with what the Garage Beer Hotline is all about. I open this up to each and every single one of my live chat viewers to call in and tell me what is on their mind around the Buffalo Bills. I am going to put this in the show. This is something we do each and every single episode. So say that you ever want to call in, do not be shy, and you are able to, feel free. I'm very curious to hear what Bills Mafia has to say about their game. I normally treat it like a radio show where I give you about 30, 45 seconds for a statement and or a question. I boot you off, and then I add my 2 cents. I'm going to use the restroom real fast. As I am gone, please hit that thumbs up sign. 334 of you are in the chat. 218 of you are on YouTube. If that is the case, guys, there has to be 218 thumbs up signs. We want to continue growing this family so we can have the largest online live chat community amongst Buffalo Bills fans on the damn internet. I will be right back. I have to use the restroom, and then I will start letting callers in. Don't be shy. I will be right back. All right, ladies and gentlemen, hit that thumbs up sign as you're coming in. The Garage Beer Hotline is available. Feel free to call in whenever you would like. So that right there was the defensive grades for the Buffalo Bills. We saw a pass rush, which was ideal. You have Deion Walker walking away with the honors, right? A 92.9 pass rush, not anything to sneeze at. You have TJ Sanders being the next best pass rusher, then Ed Oliver. You have Justin Hollins. How about Hollins making a name for himself? And then Michael Hoyt. And then, of course, Daquan Jones. So very encouraging things there. I do want to go into coverage grades because that's very important to me as well. And look at Matt Milano, huh? Many of us have been getting excited that Matt Milano might be back. I think a lot of that has to do with some of the tackles that he has been making. Like, he's really hitting hard, not Taron Johnson level hard, but the guy is out there making some moves. What is intriguing to me, right, is the biggest thing that we were looking for with Matt Milano was, what is he going to look like in coverage? Again, I'm still patiently waiting. I'm still patiently waiting for the all-22 film to come out so I can look at these past, so with this coverage grades, and see his coverage on tape. But again, man, he's proven to everybody. He's like, look, when I'm healthy, I am still that dude. Like, he just zeroes in on this running back on this little screen. He picks it up almost immediately. He picks it up almost as an insult that he thinks that that quarterback were to ultimately end up thinking that he wouldn't catch it. Like, Matt Milano is doing really, really well. And I think that we should be very excited about this. Again, the only concern we have about Matt Milano right now is whether or not that he can stay healthy. So that's the thing. But in coverage, have Taron Johnson, who had a 90.7. And granted, he did end up getting hurt and leaving the game after. Again, Taron, we love you, man, and we know that you can play some damn football. But for the love of God, man, please scale it back to about 75% in the preseason. I don't need you hitting that hard in the preseason, bro. I'm still waiting to hear what happened to Taron Johnson. I'm still waiting to hear an injury update. Hopefully it's nothing too significant. But Taron, come on, man. We need you out there, dude. We need you out there. Followed by Brandon Codrington, which is very interesting. But, like, he was running out there with the threes, so I suppose we could take that with a grain of salt. We have Jimmy Ciarlo, 79.5. Matt Milano at 79.2. And here are some of our corners, man. How about Jordan Hancock, who, by the way, is in a dead heat battle with Cam Lewis for the utility player, the Swiss Army knife of this defense. He's top 5 in coverage. That's encouraging. He should have had an interception, but of course, so I won't bring that up again. You have Dorian Strong, who also ended up having his chops, right? Went 2 for 1, right over in receptions by itself. You had 2 for 2 with Taron Johnson. Same thing with Benford. You had Cam Lewis, who is dead heat in a battle with Jordan Hancock, who wins that. And then how about Joe Andreessen? He's sitting there doing his thing. Versus coverage matchups. How about that? Look at this, man. Some solid things, man. Some solid things. And then how about DeMar Hamlin had a damn... oh, my God. He had a horrible game. We had DeMar have a horrible game, man. Holy hell. DeMar Hamlin was in coverage when that Jackson Dart, right with the touchdown pass, ended up hitting the ether afterwards. But, of course, what can you do? Of course, what can you do? Folks, I got to tell you, again, the Garage Beer Hotline is available. If any of you would like to call in and ask me a question or let me know what your thoughts were on the game, it is pinned at the top of the chat. Do not be shy. Feel free to come in and talk a little bit of football, man. I'm going to be live for probably about another hour or so, so I will make sure it's up for the remainder of the game. So Milano has always been fast. It's those damn arm tackles that keep getting him injured, right? It's that, dude, right? Like so we saw that injury last year during training camp when he tore a bicep from just tackling a dummy. So hopefully that's something out of his system. We just need him to stay as healthy as humanly possible. Taron was in concussion protocol, but he is cleared. Thank you so much for the update, Brody. You're the man. Question: what's the QB2 battle looking like? From what I've heard, stats didn't show the full story for Trubisky. So I think Trubisky did a lot of good things. And so, of course, he did some bad things as well. That one specific play we reacted to toward the beginning of the stream where he was able to evade pressure, and he also ended up connecting on the run with Josh Palmer, who also had a really good game. That, I think, was the play that gave me the most confidence and sort of has given me almost a preference rate of who I would rather be the quarterback to. But then Mike White, right? Like he had 2 touchdown passes. He did have a couple of very ugly throws and some head-scratching moments, but that competition is still ready in a dead heat battle. I'm just kind of curious to see who steps up. I know we didn't get any sacks on Saturday, but I thought we pressured good. Dart made some miracle plays. I am excited about the team's pass rush this year. I mean, yeah, dude, listen, I really don't think that we should be that upset with the pass rush. We ultimately ended up seeing some quality reps from Deion Walker, from TJ Sanders as well, from Ed Oliver, from Michael Hoyt. We saw a lot of quality reps from the guys that we brought in this offseason. But last year, we weren't bad at pressuring the quarterback, right? Like, we weren't bad, but we were bad at sort of getting home and finishing. So I would have preferred at least 1 sack like on Saturday, but hey, look, we have another game on Sunday night right against the Chicago Bears that have, I would say, a better set of competition, because while Caleb Williams and the starters did not play much last weekend, I think they will next. So let's see. If we could do it again. Yeah, let's see if we can do it again. That's how it works these days. And the only win in preseason that matters is staying off of the injury report. That is for sure. Samuel has come in. How about Stephen Gosnell? He looked pretty good, bro. I mean, look, dude, he is probably one of the camp sweethearts this year. It's going to be pretty tough for him to make the team. Say that there's any outlier that has a shot at making this squad, I'm probably going to be siding with Shavers here. He's definitely making a name for himself, but of course, we're just going to have to see. We have Gosnell can juke. So you restructure and sign Justin Simmons. We all love Hamlin, but I don't think we're winning a bowl with him as our starting safety. He's good depth, but I miss when safety was our strongest position. So a few things there. I don't think that Hamlin is ahead of Cole Bishop on the depth chart. So I do think that it is Cole Bishop and Taylor Rapp. Rapp is pretty solid in coverage. He's a hell of a lot better than people are willing to give him credit for. Cole still needs to develop. I don't think that we're going to be in a world. I don't think that we are going to be in a world where Hamlin is going to be starting, barring some sort of injury. Now, as far as missing when we had an elite safety tandem, most of the time, especially for Bills fans, like we just sort of knew and had an elite safety tandem, and we became spoiled, right? Like being like, oh my God, like that is the key for an elite defense. It's not the case. Like most of the time when you look at elite defenses across the NFL, and somebody challenges you to name the top 5 players on those elite defenses, more oftentimes than not, a safety does not even get brought up into the conversation. And that's largely due to the fact that the NFL by itself offensively has transitioned into run first, short passes, and wide receivers creating yards after the catch. Like teams don't stretch the field as much as they did about 4 to 5 years ago. So for me, I'm good on Justin Simmons. And so I think Bishop is fine. I think Rapp is fine. What the biggest issue is for us that needs to be addressed is third down defense. I'm sure all of us were close to punching a wall when we ended up seeing this defense allow once again another third and long, 3rd and 11, 3rd and 12, 3rd and 15 is almost automatic for this Buffalo Bills defense for some reason. Get to the damn quarterback. Get to the damn quarterback. That is the solution to all of our problems, folks. Is causing pressure to the quarterback. That is all it is. It's not wanting to improve the safety room. It's not even a secondary thing. It's literally just getting to the damn quarterback. That's all it is. like that's all it is. So, fingers crossed. I'm probably going to pass on Justin Simmons because number one, I don't think that we'd be able to afford him, and say that we wanted to invest our money like really anywhere, I probably wouldn't have it be safety. Have to improve on third down. That's a big weakness for sure. Like I just said, I'm sure a lot of us were this close into punching a hole in the wall when we saw the Buffalo Bills defense let up a 3rd and 12. 3rd and long defense for this team has been so frustrating for as long as I can remember. But again, how we fix that? We get to the quarterback. That is how it's solved. Whatever happens this year for the Bills, at least you're not the Dolphins, for sure. Absolutely. A rough preseason outing for our boys down in Miami. Is there anything you're worried about starters-wise? I know they didn't play much, but what are your thoughts? So I don't think that our defensive line was going anywhere near to 100%, but I was a little disappointed that we didn't at least get a couple of wins, especially on the offensive line, because that offensive line for the New York Giants is very bad. It is very, very bad. So I'm probably just chalking it up that with this team is sort of not playing anywhere close to 100% rate of their level. And they're kind of scaling back and they're just trying to get their feet wet again after a long offseason. But I kind of wish that we would have been able to see a bit more pressure from our starters right against their starting offensive line. I would probably say that. Hamlin gets sprinkled in. He gets a few interceptions, and we spend October wondering why he isn't starting. Bishop is our guy, but calling the drama now. Interesting. When do we need the final 53-man roster leading up to week 1? A few days before week 1, I want to say. X is coming in. Hancock will be above Hamlin by the last preseason game. Shout out to Jordan Hancock. He really played well. And again, he is Cam Lewis for this team. He is in a competition with Cam Lewis. Him and Cam Lewis play the same role. Somebody that is directly behind Taron Johnson in the slot, and somebody that could also play safety in a pinch. I'm excited to see what he can do because he has really been impressing out there. Zero questions asked. Who would you say is the best backup quarterback in the league right now? Best backup quarterback in the league right now? I'd say Kirk Cousins, probably. I'd say Kirk Cousins. In fact, so I for sure say Kirk Cousins. But all right, we have the Jays. So our defensive line always lets the opponent's offensive linemen dictate their movements. You have Exo put, I get it. Okay. I get it was our third and fourth strings, but that conversion from DeVito to their tight end got me heated. He was standing alone in the middle of the field. Pepe is in the building. 10 years from now, if Josh was playing for the Jets and he was in the Super Bowl, would you root for him? No, I would not. So for me, so I'm not a player fan. So I'm a Buffalo Bills fan, right? That's always kind of how I've approached like this social media world right now. And so I'm not a player fan. And so I'm a Buffalo Bills fan. So say, for example, that Josh, like 5 years down the road, like we release him or like we trade him. And so I don't think we will. So I think that he will retire a Buffalo Bill. No. Hell no. Hell no, I wouldn't. All right, man. First caller on the Garage Beer Hotline, my boy DJ Finesse calling in from the Tesla facility, South Buffalo. DJ Finesse, what's going on, man? How you doing?
That was good, Dan.
Hey, man, I'm hanging out, dude. I'm hanging out. What did you think about the game?
I think it was good. As far as like the offense showed, they can put some points and stuff on the board and move the ball without Josh Allen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I wish the defense could have played better, but I know it's preseason. I just wish people stop over exaggerating about the third down defense. Like we wasn't playing our starters. Like,
Yeah, man, for sure, for sure. It's probably because, like we're just like frustrated from last season because like that was just unanimous. And again, it's certainly good to know that it is preseason and half of these guys are probably going to be playing in the XFL here within the next couple of months. So that's a good way to look at things. But like, so I'm talking about some random players that like you walked in on Saturday hoping to see make a statement, but just disappointed you. Like, like what were some of those players for you?
Landon Jackson, I wanted him to do something better, but he ain't do nothing.
Dude, I know. Dude, I know. Like, I have not been able to stop watching that one clip where he ultimately ended up just getting slapped around right by that third string offensive lineman. So many people are upset about him being drawn off sides to take away that like Hancock interception. But that clip was the one that I just can't stop watching. Is this dude just getting dominated by the offensive line?
I, I gotta go watch that one again. I don't remember that play.
Oh, okay. Here, well, you know what? Unfortunately, I'm sorry for ruining your day, bro, but I'm gonna have to put this up on the screen. All right. So I'm gonna have to put this up on the screen for you real fast. All right, here you go. There it is. You see that?
No, it's not playing.
I got you.
I just
I
watch
got
it. I'll watch it later though. There you go.
There you go. Right? Look at that.
Oh damn.
Ready? Dude. Hey.
I think it looked like
Hey,
he slipped. He might have slipped. I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. He slipped.
Yeah. Maybe he slipped a little bit. Like, thank God we have joint practice against the Chicago Bears, and then Sunday night for him to make us all look stupid and that we were good. But I'd probably have to agree with you, man. Like, I'm feeling really good right about some of the defensive additions through the drafts. So with Deion Walker looked great. Same thing with TJ Sanders. Same thing with Jordan Hancock. And even Dorian Strong
Yeah, I like
did
Hoyt
look pretty
too.
damn good.
55. I like 55.
And 55 as well. Who is that? Let me see that.
That's Hoyt.
55.
That's the dude Hoyt, right? The one that's being
Yeah,
suspended.
Hoyt, who's suspended for about 6 weeks. Yeah. Yeah, man. That's definitely some good things. What you up to today, man? You working?
Yeah, at work. Just tuning into the live chat.
I feel you on that, man. Well, hey, dude, listen, we appreciate you for calling in. So hopefully we have something to celebrate. So next week, or maybe even this week during joint practices, man, we'll see what's going on. And so I appreciate you, DJ.
For sure.
Thanks, man. Shout out to DJ Finesse for always tuning in. He's always tapping in with me while he's going through his workday. As many of you are, I'm sure. I've asked a couple of times, like, what do you guys do while you're listening to me? It turns out a lot of you guys are currently working your day to day, and you just sort of treat me as a way to make the day go by faster, and I appreciate that. We're unpacking everything that happened at the Buffalo Bills preseason matchup against the New York Giants. Some solid stuff. We have Dane and Hamlin just suck. Dane did have a rough day, and Hamlin did have a rough day as well. That is indeed for sure. What's up, boys? Go Bills. Bishop, how you doing, man? Let's go, Buffalo. Love the content. Log in with the boys. What's going on, man? Hope all is well. I appreciate you for showing a little bit of love. Folks, the Garage Beer Hotline is open in case you have anything that you need to get off of your chest, a statement on the game, a question. Feel free. The link is pinned at the top of the chat. Do not be shy. More Ciarlo instead of Ulofoshio, even though he did bit too hard on the RPO TD. It's going to take a little bit of time from Ciarlo. It's going to take a little bit of time. But, hey, man, that is what the preseason's all about. This clip is such a bad look for him. Landon has always been an underdog, though. He will more than likely show up eventually. Yeah, for sure. I don't think that I'm too upset about it because, number one, my expectations for him were never really as high as many. So I knew that he was a very raw prospect, especially when it came into pass rush moves. He's quality in run defense. That I'll give him. But say that he wants any credible reps, I have a feeling he's probably going to be reserved more so for running downs, first and second down, something along those lines. Maybe we could utilize him in that capacity. But say, for example, that we ever wanted to call his number on passing downs, like third and long, don't think he's going to be the answer there, right? Still need to roll with Joey Bosa. Still need to roll with Greg Rousseau and some of our other guys. But like, that's kind of where I'm at. It's such a vanilla game plan in these preseason games. It's hard to evaluate. It's tough from a team perspective, but from so with the players and their individual performance, it's pretty eye-opening for the most part. November 2nd, Chiefs Bills is gonna be a banger. Good luck, Bills Mafia. Man, who knows? Can you show the PFF offensive grades? I certainly can, my friend. I certainly can. Let's take a look at what our boys ended up looking like right here. All right. So starting off, hey guys, listen, you Frank Gore Jr. stands second in overall PFF offense. Dude had an 84.4, right? His pass blocking, his pass catching 89.7, his pass blocking 74.6, run 77.4, run blocking 72.4. Quality day from our guy, Frank Gore Jr. Josh Palmer finishing in the top 5. Terrell Shaver is number 5. And then how about this? Because this right here is a topic that we typically forget about, but it's a competition that's happening and will continue to happen for the remainder of the preseason. The kick return. The kick return battle. Look who is leading right now. It is Laviska Shenault Jr. His return grade was 68.8, had 62 yards off of 2 returns. His yards per average was 31 compared to Brandon Codrington, who was sitting at 22. So that is a competition that I feel like a lot of us should be paying attention to, right? You have Ty Johnson was right in the top 10. You have KJ Hamler. You had David Edwards and Stephen Goatnell. Stephen Goatnell doing his thing. How about receiving? Let's actually get back here. How about receiving, man? What about the receiving side of things? Who led in overall receiving? You had Reggie Gilliam, 1 target for 19 yards. Frank Gore Jr., 5 for 5. Dawson Knox with the touchdown pass, which is pretty solid. His pass block was up there, which is not terrible. Have Laviska Shenault, dude. How about that? Dude, how about Laviska Shenault over here? Had some yards right over here. 17. You had KJ Hamler, Stephen Goatnell as well, 30 yards. Right off the 4 receptions, and Darrington Evans. Same thing with Dalton Kincaid. And with our boy Keon Coleman, 1 target, 1 reception for 0 yards. Hey, is what it is, man. We want to see what these players look like. What about running? Rushing. What did rushing look like real fast? You had Frank Gore Jr. Was So the best running back right out on the field, followed by Ty Johnson, followed by Ray Davis, who I'd probably say was a bit of a disappointment on my end. So there you go. And then what about this right here? Let's talk about blocking, pass blocking. Kendrick Green, right guard, had himself a day. Bayer did not look good. I'm shocked that he's ranked at 2 right now. You have McGovern had a good day. You have Frank Gore Jr., solid blocker, folks. Look at that. Dude, maybe Frank Gore Jr. has some chops. Ryan, welcome to the Garage Beer Hotline, man. What's up? How you doing?
What's going on? How you doing?
Hey, man, I'm living the dream. I'm trying to.
Yes, sir.
What's on your mind, dude?
I just want to put it out there that my guy Tyrell Shavers had himself a day.
He did.
I'm preaching for him to make the 53 man.
Mm-hmm.
Frank Gore Jr. Excited about him, but how about Ty Johnson?
That's what I'm talking about.
Ty Johnson
That's what I'm
deserves
talking about.
extra reps in the season.
He does. Dude, he does indeed. Like when it comes into rushing, right? So I will say that Ray Davis's performance was a little discouraging because I feel like all offseason we were saying, oh yeah, say that James Cook is gone. We just pass the buck over to Ray Davis. I'm not entirely sure that I'm confident based off of that first. And granted, it's the preseason. But Ty
Ray played
Johnson,
against
on the other
first
hand,
line, right?
yeah, he did.
Okay.
And like he has to also establish chemistry with the offensive line, like a wide receiver and a QB need to. But Ty was going off with his limited snaps, like 3 rushing for I think 30, 40 yards, was finding his holes completely fine. Solid ball player, man. Listen, he definitely deserves a hell of a lot more reps, but I do think that Joe Brady has him in the perfect spot of being our third down guy. He's hands down the best RB3 in the league.
Oh yeah,
by a
very
massive margin.
With Ray out there, I couldn't tell if it was the O-line failing him or if it was him failing the O-line.
From people I was talking to, it sounds like it was more of a miscommunication side of things with him in the offensive line.
Makes sense.
I'm still waiting on the all-22. Hopefully I'll have Kevin on here later this afternoon so we can unpack it. But I have a feeling it had to be with a miscommunication. But then again, he made up for it with that extra point. Very impressive. I had no idea that guy had that on his resume.
Awesome. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, dude, for real, man. And feel free to call in anytime. Ryan, my boy, came in on the Garage Beer Hotline letting me know what was on his mind, guys. Ty Johnson, he needs some damn love. Shavers is carving a spot for himself on this 53-man roster. According to McDermott, what can he do on special teams? That is the question. All right. Jake has come in. How are we feeling about kickers this year? Think we should call up Rodrigo Blankenship. It's tough, right? Because how I look at this kicking situation, this Buffalo Bills team is the highest scoring offense in all of the NFL. So there's very few times where we need to rely on a kicker to win us a game. I think it just goes to show you, so it begs the question, how significant is Tyler Bass's injury? I'm really hoping that we can hear something coming out of camp this week that he's finally starting to take reps again. If not, I don't know. In fact, I'm kind of curious to see, let's double check and see how our boy did from field goals. We had Caden Davis, all right, was 1 for 1 with extra points, had no field goal attempts, had 1 field goal attempt from 20. He was 100%. So, not bad. So it was 1 for 1. So it was 1 for 1 with field goal and field goal attempts. So not a lot from Caden Davis. I don't know. All right, we have DTN. Dan is in the building. Patriots fan. What's going on, man? Talk to me.
Nothing much, Dan. How are you?
Good, man. Good. Are you still working that night shift, bro, or no longer?
For the next 3 weeks until September, I think, when the regular season starts, heading back to school. I think my schedule is going to be a little more easier than last year, considering that your live streams will be before my classes. So That's
Nice.
actually going to be great on my end.
And so where do you go to school, Dan?
I go to it's some school in Massachusetts. It's it's a school called Bridgewater State University, so it's like closer
Okay.
to Gillette Stadium.
Oh, cool. Nice, man. Nice. So like right by Foxborough.
Yeah, somewhat by Foxborough, I would say.
Okay. And so I have a couple of buddies from Mass, and I'm pretty sure I've heard of that university before, but that's awesome. What year are you?
I'm gonna be a junior this upcoming semester.
Junior, man. Listen, dude, you enjoy it, dude.
Yeah, I really enjoy it.
And
Just
so I
as
look
much
back
as
fondly on my college years for sure.
Yeah, just how I enjoyed that so-called, I would say somewhat close to a 50 burger last Friday, which I did not expect because I only watched like partial of that preseason game. Granted that it is only the preseason, so I'm not gonna
It's still
treat it as like
encouraging.
regular season, but I'm gonna treat it more as like a
It's still encouraging.
in the right direction.
Yeah, it's still encouraging, man. You know, like, so you could very easily pass off preseason performances like, oh my God, it's just the preseason. No one cares about that. But like, that's not what teams feel, because what they need to see is that all of their transactions from the year before are basically living up to expectations, right? And are performing well. Same thing with a brand new coaching staff. Like, you want to see signs that, hey, like this team is moving right in the right direction. So I don't necessarily buy into the whole that the preseason's meaningless, because there are things that you need to see from your team, specifically on the depth side of things, and your brand new players being thrown in right within this game. Shout out Trevion Henderson, man. Hell of a 100-yard kick return. Very impressed there.
Yeah, I was on Colby's live stream, and the first thing I heard was that Trevion Henderson kick return touchdown. I'm like, oh my God, I did not expect our second round rookie, who I didn't think we would select a running back that high in the draft, but thankfully I think that special teams balled out. And what impressed me more under this Mike Vrabel regime is that I don't see like a lot of penalties, because last year we were like one of the most undisciplined teams, and I felt like this game showed that we were more disciplined than the Washington Commanders, since the Commanders, I think, had 13 unnecessary penalties.
Dude. So that's a big part of the game too. So, but I can't say I'm not surprised, especially with how Vrabel typically runs the team. It's encouraging, man. It is encouraging. I'm very excited to see what Drake May does once he actually ends up getting more than just one drive. But it's, I mean, dude, we are so close to football season. I am feeling so ecstatic.
Granted, I enjoyed that game against the Commanders, but I would say the next test will be determined against Minnesota, as we will fly to Minnesota, and I'm a little concerned about Brian Flores' defense. Granted that they're one of the more aggressive defenses, but as long as the offensive line communicates well, pass blocks and run blocks well, if Drake May can do more in the passing game, because I felt like the passing game for the Patriots was underwhelming compared to the running side of the offense, and I felt like our defense really stepped up, especially with our cornerbacks, considering of how depleted I would say health-wise. But I was really impressed with the defense. Granted, even though we were up against second stringers and third stringers, I felt like I was more impressed with that game compared to like all the other preseason games in the past.
Yeah, man. Look, you know what? Like right now, so is your first taste of what can be going into the 2025 NFL season. There's no problem being optimistic about that. But DTN, I appreciate you calling in as always, my friend.
Yeah, no problem. I cannot wait to see what what the season has in store for us. If are all the teams going to stay healthy or not, or is it going to be one of those years where refereeing is going to be another issue again?
Yeah, man. We'll see what's going on. Hey, brother, we appreciate the call, man. Thank you so much.
No problem, man.
Thank you so much. Shout out to DTN, man. Patriots fan who comes in here, shows a little bit of love. He's hyped about his team this year. And so I got to tell you about the Patriots, man. I think that if there's any team that could potentially be annoying and steal one from the Buffalo Bills this year within the division, I think it could be the Pats. And not swept, right? Maybe one of those weird games where we lose by a field goal or by one, but it is what it is. I am still optimistic that our Buffalo Bills are yet again winning the division. That's just uniform at this point. We can let Cook go and run with the young guns, the law offices of Gore, Johnson, and Davis. I just need Ray Davis to do a little bit better next time his number is called against the Chicago Bears. I was not impressed with how he did this weekend. And the Commanders' backups are terrible. 48 points is bad, even for the preseason. Speaking of depth concerns, so the Washington Commanders' depth is indeed a massive concern. Okay, got to keep working. I'm still going to listen until you stop. Shout out to my boy King Jamie coming on in, showing a little bit of love here. We have Trevion Henderson was my biggest draft crush. Him, Dart, and Milrow. Oh, my God. What are your thoughts on Mike White and Mitch Trubisky's performance? It's pretty close. It's pretty close right now. So I would be curious to see whether or not that Mike White does end up getting an opportunity with the ones next week. So I don't think Josh is going to be playing much right on Sunday. Likely not at all. Maybe we might see Josh for like one drive for the final preseason game. But I'd be interested to see what Mike can do, because when you compare their stats side by side, very similar. So as far as production, Mike White had his share of some ugly throws, while Mitch was a bit more consistent. But then again, so with Mitchell Trubisky, he has a significant cap hits rate this year in 2025. And if we were to walk away from Mitchell Trubisky, we could potentially save a shit ton of money. But I don't know. It's close. It's close from what I understand. They took one last year. I believe they're getting 2-0 this year. Would the Bills save money by cutting Mitchie Biscuits? Yes, we would save about $2.4 million if we were to do that, right? His cap hit is at $3.3 million, and then Mike White's only at 1.1. So we could potentially walk away from Mitchell Trubisky, say that we wanted to save cash. And that's why I think we're even having this conversation in the first place. $2.5 million would be added to our available spend. And off of all accounts, Spot Track and it's the over the cap as well, has us ranked dead last in the league for eventual spend. So that's a bit of a conversation. Guys, listen, I do need to give a giant shout out to a couple of shows I would like each and every single one of you to pay attention to. All right. I have started the channel called the Bills Roundtable, where I ultimately ended up finding 3 other Bills YouTubers to talk ball twice a week with on this channel specifically, Mondays and Thursdays. Highly recommend you go check this out, guys. It's myself, Z-Bot from Buffalo Fanatics. It's the Bills Bunker and also Kevin Masari. We are live Mondays and Thursdays at 5 p.m. EST. On today's episode, we are going to be unpacking everything we learned from the preseason matchups and concerns that we have. Do me a favor, guys, and go subscribe to this channel. It is linked right in the description, and turn on bell notifications. I am going to be live on this channel leading up to this show at 4 p.m. EST with Kevin. So I'll likely go on ahead and just push you guys right over to that once that show is over with. But highly recommend you go check it out, man. It's more Bills content, and this time from 4 great creators on YouTube. If you are a college football fan as well, please tell me you're a college football fan, because I know I am, man. I know I'm a college ball guy. We also launched a Roundtable College Football show. This right here is a show that is hosted by myself and Jay Tuck, and we tell you everything that is happening around college ball. So say that you're a college football fan. I highly recommend you go subscribe to this as well. We are live at 6 p.m. EST Mondays and Thursdays. Today, we are going to be seeing the first AP poll. All of the college football rankings should be announced here within the next couple of hours. That is going to be the main show. So I highly recommend you go subscribe to both of those and come tap in and say hello. We're doing a lot of really cool things over at Roundtable Sports, and I hope that you guys can be a part of them. All right. Shout out to my boys. What do people got to say? Let's see. Mark has come in with a question. And so is it possible for them to restructure Trubisky's contract? Yeah, but I'm not sure if they would want to, because that would mean that we would need to extend him. He's on his final year. So I don't think that we'd be able to restructure him. And 2.5 is not much for a backup quarterback. Normally it's not, but we have nothing to spend right now. Like, we're 32nd in the league. Ty Johnson, almost as fast as Cook. He's larger and a beast. Man, love that. Love the hat, Dan. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Somebody, someone from New Era Cap actually reached out to me. Shout out to my boy. And he said, hey, Dan. And so I love your stuff. I'd love to send you some hats. I'm like, okay, cool. I said, you have to make sure you end up sending me over this training camp hat / this preseason hat, because this is the cleanest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. He sent me this one, and then he sent me another one. And how about this bad boy? And how about this one right here, huh? It's the Buffalo Bills one. Ooh, that is pretty clean. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to take these stickers off real fast so we can get a better feel. Get that real fast. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, baby. So I need the curved brim, though. You know what I mean? There you go. Woo, baby. Man, shout out to New Era Cap for hooking it up. I have some preseason hats that I'll be rocking, especially since I haven't had a haircut in a little bit, so I have to sort of hide my bad hair day. But we shall see. We will be picking every game against the spread. My daughter won $500 last year. I love it. I love it. Listen, sometimes you got to do it. And so I'm wearing the blue one right now. Dude, shout out, man. Shout out, dude. These things are absolutely fire. And this one, too, we have the Josh Allen MVP hat. I might give this one away. So I might give this one away if anyone's interested. Stay tuned. Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. Stay tuned. We have a statement. So the video of Lamb getting leveled by a ref is a good video to sum up the Cowboys' upcoming season. My God, man, those damn Cowboys. And so I like that one, Dan. We have Eric. Hey, listen, man. If y'all like that, so with that one, I will probably end up giving that away. How about that? I need that Josh Allen MVP hat. All right. Well, you know what, guys? Let me actually put something together for a giveaway, and we can figure it out. And I'll send it to one of you guys. All right. All right, guys. That's going to have to do it for another edition of your favorite morning show surrounding the Buffalo Bills. We learn the winners. We learn the losers of the first preseason matchup. And I could anticipate that we will be discussing this a bit more later this afternoon, and probably even to tomorrow, right before we start shifting focus over into this week's practice and some other trending storylines. Regardless, guys, I am always going to be live Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. EST, 9 a.m. EST, breaking down everything that happens with our favorite team. So say, for example, that's your cup of tea. Just do me a favor and hit that thumbs up sign, subscribe, and turn on bell notifications. We are set to have a record-breaking year right on this show, and then hopefully with the Buffalo Bills as well. I think that would be ideal. But subscribe and turn on bell notifications, and I really hope that I get to see you a bit later for my afternoon stream. See y'all soon. Peace.